Hello, I'm Tim Wilde, and I wanted to just give my final thoughts on the Johnny Depp trial verdict. Now that it's been completed, it came out yesterday, Tuesday, 2 days ago. The verdict where both of them won a portion of it. I just wanted to point out a couple things. One, I did become invested. I've mentioned this in my videos. If you've watched anything I've had to say about it, I tried to remain impartial, but the further it went along, it became more and more difficult for me to listen to certain witnesses, listen to certain angles from the attorneys. All in all, I gotta say both sides did I think a really good job. I think a lot of respect and credit needs to go to both attorneys. I've shared with people who may have not been fully invested or fully interested, which is fine. Or people that just had any curiosity about the trial, or just curious about what was really being brought out through both sides. I told them all to listen to the closing arguments because it's 4 or 5 hours of their final statements, and it really brought together, tied up all the events, all the stories, all the allegations, the evidence, the main pieces of evidence, the who was who in the whole situation. I'm sorry if you can hear my fan. If it's drowning me out. But it really did tie together the entire perspective from both sides and what they were trying to plead. I think both sides did a really good job, especially in the closing arguments. Very convincing, and they both had a different angle of what they were trying to push to motivate the juries. Johnny Depp's side was all about the alleged losses in his career and everything, and that was the defamation trial. That's what it was. That was what it was about. Amber Heard's side was really trying to push the kind of a guilt trip on the jury that if they did not vote for her, if they didn't rule in her favor, then they were making a statement against all women who proclaim sexual abuse and everything. And I think that was a little, it's a rougher angle. It's like bringing race into a conversation. Like, you can't, it's the same concept of why studios are not able to hire people who are in these situations where there's any allegations. They have to remove themselves, and so playing off of that guilt is it was well done, but I think it was kind of a sleazy move. Very strategic, but when they started talking about that if the jurors didn't, if they didn't rule on Amber's side, then they were saying that women don't have, if they don't step forward, then they didn't do the right thing, or if they didn't take enough pictures, or if they told people they didn't tell the right people, or if they testified then they're lying, or whatever. All that stuff, I think that's all exaggerated. I did not believe, and it had nothing to do with my personal feelings about Johnny Depp. It had to deal with what was brought out in the case. There were a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of things that didn't make sense in her allegations about the sexual abuse. I don't believe that he committed any sexual abuse like that. Not only the things she discussed. The attorneys since then, her attorneys have been on talking about how there were a lot of evidence of sexual abuse that they were not allowed to bring up in the trial. I don't know anything about those. I didn't follow anything with the trial with the son in the UK. I don't know. But I'll just say this. It was not this big celebration. I didn't post anything on Facebook or anything saying, yay, justice for Johnny or anything like that, because I think it's still a sad situation. I made this point earlier, at the very beginning of the trial, that this is a sad, devastating, tragic, and traumatic thing for everyone involved. And now the attorneys are having to get kind of politicized about it. And now they're going to have reputations on the line with things in the future. I think there's going to be there's a lot of celebration for Johnny's attorneys. They deserve the victory. I believe that, they did a great job, and I believe the integrity of their statements and their stance on behalf of Johnny. I believe Johnny, and it's very clear, and this is all about his career and the the dive it made after that, and they were trying to shoot that towards his drinking and drug abuse and the drama in his life, interfering with his scheduling, his career, showing up late on sets, all that stuff. That's nonsense. It's still Johnny Depp. If I was making a movie and I could get Johnny Depp to be in it, and he was coming with those behaviors, it's still Johnny Depp. There's plenty of goodwill that goes with that name, and you're still going to make money off of it. So, I'm not, I'm not an expert. I don't know. I'm just saying that them saying that those are the reasons his career was slipping, and then the box office drops. Come on. He didn't write the script for those movies. He didn't. I watched a bunch of those movies, and they were terrible, having nothing to do with him. He did what he does, and I think we were oversaturated and a little fatigued maybe with Johnny Depp after the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He did a lot of work that should have been done. Willy Wonka is one that I was kind of passionate about, and I was disappointed. Had nothing to do with his performance. Had to do with what they did with the characters. Not his version, but the story, the characterization of him, what his motivation was. All that stuff was completely lost with the magic of what was Willy Wonka. Had nothing to do with him, and I didn't buy the movie. I didn't go back and rewatch the movie because it was a failure because of the creation, the creative design, and the script. Lone Ranger, I had no interest because of the way they were portraying Tonto, the way where they're portraying the character. They're making a joke out of it. I love the Lone Ranger. I have a lot of excitement and I have a lot of fun, adventurous ideas and flashes from my childhood playing cowboys and stuff with that. But it wasn't because Johnny Depp's performance. It was just what they did with the character. Anyway, Alice in Wonderland, I didn't even care about watching those. But I just... his drop in box office had nothing to do with him. He did a great job in his movies, and he's still going to be an icon. And I think no matter, as I said before, no matter what happens with the trial, no matter what the verdict is by the jury, he won the popular vote back. And any studio who was smart would be wise enough to invest in him and putting him into a project. So I think he already won before the verdict what his goal was. To get his life back, get his career back, get his reputation back. As he said in the very beginning, no matter what happens, he's to his dying day, there's going to be people that believe he committed sexual abuse and assaulted a woman. And he's sad that has to be in the minds of his children and everything. But he also said that that he just wanted to set the record straight and give his testimony, and he did that, and he did a great job. And he did win the trial, but... that wasn't the victory. The victory was winning the hearts of the people back, and he did that. So any studio would be smart to invest with him. Amber Heard, on the other hand, has to come up with $15 million in addition to, people have talked about the taxes on that money, but she also has, I don't know what her obligations are over her lifetime of fulfilling the pledges that she's bragged about with everyone to the charities. $7 million to the charities, and then a $13 million wash because she lost to him $15 million, but she won $2 million. So a $13 million wash for him. So she has to come up with, what is that, 13, 14, 15, $20 million over to pay all this stuff back, and it's going to be hard for her to work now that this has happened because regardless of how studios may feel about the sexual allegations, she definitely doesn't have the popular support right now. So a lot of people aren't going to go see her movies because of what's happened. It's just like after the Will Smith Chris Rock thing at the Oscars, a bunch of his movies started popping up on streaming services, and I just didn't have I had a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't even want to watch movies with him. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm just cancel culturing him. I'm just not going to ever watch anything with Will Smith. I had a bad taste in my mouth. I just needed a little cleanser for a while. I never felt that with Johnny Depp. Even when I was watching allegations and everything, when things were coming out about all this stuff a few years ago, all that stuff, I didn't really, get really into following it. But when I watched the depositions for the ones that were leaked, I never ever bought Amber's the things that she was describing and her behavior and everything. She's come a really long way. She's a very powerful and motivating actress. She's moving, but a lot of people connected with her story, but I did not. I think she did a great job in the way she described the things on the stand, but when it came down to it, I was like, there's too many things don't add up with your personality, with the evidence, the things that you journaled and studied, or the things that you chronicle. I can't even think of the right words. Anyway, she was capturing all the evidence and everything, but just certain things that she did not. A lot of it didn't make sense. I'm not going to go into specifics because it doesn't matter anymore. Good for Johnny. I think it's a devastating thing. Yeah, it's good for him to have a shot at his career back and getting his name back, his reputation restored. I'm sad for Amber. I didn't believe Amber with a lot of the stuff, but obviously, I don't believe he never was forceful with her, grabbing her arm or things like that. I don't buy that he kicked her down on the ground on the airplanes and downstairs and poked or punched her in the face multiple times with the rings. None of that stuff added up. injuries, like him hitting her foot when she was, trying to barge in the bathroom, or him like hitting her in the head when he was like trying to get out, or him grabbing her arms while she was attacking him. That stuff, I believe, and I believe that she would have been injured from some of that stuff. But the main stuff that she was going into, all the devastating, the multiple punches like in the face multiple times, in the chin multiple times, in the back of the head, pulling out her hair, none of that stuff added up. Anyway, I guess I wasn't going to go into specifics, but I guess I did. My point is this: I feel bad for her. It's she's gonna be doing a counter, or what do they call it, where they're gonna do an appeal. She's gonna fight back. This comment that the first thing she said after the trial was that she felt bad that she let down all the women out there who have been abused, and she was supposed to be helping represent them. All she's doing there is doubling down on her claim that, and this is all projection of her. I don't know, she wants this spotlight like she did with the charity. She said that she didn't care about people knowing or knowing what she did with the money. She didn't need to do it for the popular opinion, but popular the fanfare or whatever. But she did. She definitely shared that very clearly, how much it was and what she did with it. And then she didn't do that with it. And then she went all in right before Aquaman with this op-ed, which is what this all was about. Where this opinion piece where she said that she became an icon for battered and domestic abused women and sexually abused women. This whole joke that it didn't have him by name in it, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's his name. He was the one who was married to her. But anyway, the point is this: she is now going all in. That she's now like appealing. She feels that she let all these women down and everything because she was this icon. I don't believe that she was this icon. I believe that she wanted to project it that way. I think she wanted to have this to be this legend, this hero in the minds of people, this starlet, and she's now not. I think it was something she wanted to do for her career and to be a martyr. And now she's just being harassed. I watched the videos. It breaks my heart. It really does. Watching her just get yelled at and assaulted verbally as she goes into the courtroom. People have no freaking tact, no heart, no mercy, no compassion. And I said the same stuff about other allegations. I said this about Bill Cosby. It's like, people just let the justice system do what it's supposed to do, and we should just step back and just consider how we feel about the verdict under the evidence, and consider how we feel about the art from the artist. I'll never not watch an Amber Heard movie. I mean, other than Aquaman, I don't know if I've ever seen an Amber Heard movie, but I'm not opposed to watching Amber Heard. Just like I was never opposed to watching Johnny Depp. I was never opposed to watching Kevin Spacey, or I'm not opposed to watching Joss Whedon products. I'm not opposed to watching Bill Cosby stuff. I've said that, and I've been attacked for being a rapist sympathizer and stuff, just because I believe that there's good value in different content, and I can separate it. It doesn't condone the actions, or it doesn't condone the allegations of what people have done, and I think it's a horrible thing when there's this mob mentality we have, and this cancel culture push. I understand if studios want to take a step back from someone while the flame is on. I get that. But for them to completely bail and say, no, we're going to move on without Captain Jack Sparrow, you can't tell me it had to do with this performance in the shows. It's because you guys couldn't think of anything to do with the character, but to have him not in the movie at all and not be able to do a passing of the torch kind of a situation, give me a break. It all had to do with these allegations. I don't care what little timelines that you say about when these articles came out. As far as I'm concerned, Johnny Depp shouldn't go do Captain Jack Sparrow again. Screw them. Screw Disney for all that. He should just go on and do products that he cares about with people that supported him. Robert Downey Jr., who completely understands people coming, having a rising from, or an uprising. Is that the right word? Not an uprising, but a restoration from being a fallen, and especially with those addictions, and being a star and an example and a light and a favorite of the community and the fans. Even with Disney, and he wants to help restore Johnny Depp's his career. It's great. He has people reinforcing and backing him up, and that's fantastic. I think that people should. I'm not judging or criticizing people that will not watch something after there's allegations about someone. I'm just saying, I go back and I watch Bryan Singer movies. I watch Superman Returns still. I love it. It has Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer in it, in spite of their allegations. I love Louis C.K. I never stopped enjoying his work, and that's a taste of itself anyway, if you like his content. But like, I think the stuff about him was ridiculous. I can't stand cancel culture. It has nothing to do with me not believing the victims. It has nothing to do with me condoning any activity. It frustrates me that we just especially without verdicts, without evidence, without proof, that we just automatically, if there's an accusation, then that's the fact. It bothers me a lot. Anyway, I'm glad Johnny Depp has a light ahead of him. I feel bad for Amber Heard. It's going to be hard for her to get work and be hard for her to come up with that money. And I don't know the details. I'm not in the business. I don't understand how this contract works, how what she's going to be getting back on back end from other things. If she's, it'll be interesting if she's in Aquaman 2 now, because she said she didn't know anyway. But now that the verdict is in, who knows? But I feel bad for her. She's going to be dealing with this persecution for a long time. Even politics, with as much as I didn't agree with almost everything going on with the Trump campaign, with his party, when Sarah Huckabee Sanders getting persecuted and ridiculed at a restaurant with her family, that stuff is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's all part of cancel culture. If you don't agree with someone, it's still their job to do those things. She was a press secretary for the President of the United States. Yes, she was really good at deflecting questions and misstating, and she had a little bit of an attitude towards the people that are asking legitimate questions that I agreed with. It doesn't mean you go out and you persecute them in public and shame them and cause them drama. They should still be entitled to enjoy a civil life in a society that we are in. Amber's not going to have that for a long time. I don't think it's appropriate for people to persecute and to enjoy this mob feel that they feel empowered, because now with the verdict happening, now they're even more empowered to go and just be jerks. I wish people could just be more Christian. I really do. I wish people could just have some compassion and mercy and some patience and tolerance and maybe a little bit of forgiveness, and just let the law prevail. And just support, vote if there's things you don't agree with, and you can vote for movies and celebrities with your purchases and your tickets. You vote with your money about types of movies they make and don't make. If you don't want Amber Heard or Johnny Depp ever to work again, then just don't or subscribe or purchase any of their products. That's it. They'll lose endorsements, they'll lose money over time, and the overall vote will count. You're not buying those tickets will affect the box office, and it will modify their work in the future. That's the system. Like it or leave, or love it or leave it. Like it, don't accept it, whatever. That's what it is. So everyone should just hold back on their emotions. This isn't a victory for anyone other than Johnny getting his name back a little bit. This is not This is nothing worth celebrating. It's a horrible, tragic thing with all this exposure and everything about both their lives. Very traumatic, very difficult for both of them, and their marriage was a tragedy. But you know what? There's a lot of people, and Amber Heard felt bad that she let all those women down. There's a lot of people that I know, and I related to myself and my grandfather, other people I know that live in abused, even on the male side, emotional and physical abuse, and there's a lot of people with sexual abuse that don't get the justice, and that's why I think this is a good thing. I think this is a great counter-strike to the overcorrection from the Me Too and the cancel culture movement that we live in. I don't think those are bad. I don't agree with cancel culture at all, but I don't think the Me Too movement is bad, but I think that it did create too much entitlement and empowerment for people without evidence, without anything going to trial or anything besides an allegation that's an automatic judgment and execution by the masses, and I don't agree with that. So whatever. Those are my thoughts. You guys can consider and think for yourself what this means to you. I just encourage people to be a little tactful, a little respectful to other people, no matter how passionate you are about any side of this case or other cases like it, any allegations or any people or any situations with artists that are going through when their life as a public figure, politicians, whatever, it becomes exposed. Because of the life we live in with social media the way it is, with journalism the way it is, the internet and easy access to all this information, their details of their personal lives, it's so easily exposed that people should just consider that and realize that if every minute and the worst things they've ever done was captured and then shared on social media or publicly, how would people judge you? That's why I had to back off when a lot of these things started heating up in the last few years with allegations, because I don't have a place to stand. I don't have a I'm not perfect, and I definitely need to keep myself in check before I start criticizing and judging other people when there's already a system in place to help judge these people. To each their own, but be respectful and love one another. That's what we're supposed to do. And that's the better way to live. And you know what? It's a happier way to live. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. That's the verdict. I'm glad he won, but it's sad watching the aftermath. I wish people would just calm down, let them both move on, as even their best friends and closest friends wished them the whole time. It was just I hope they can move on now that this is over. It's gonna be hard for Amber, so let's be patient. Let's just be tolerant of her and not get on the bandwagon of just assaulting and ripping her down and beating her while she's on the ground. Horrible. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching.